Hey, Jara here. I'm back with another video, and I'm back drawing Sydney Sweeney. So let me tell you all a story as to how I made the decision to draw Sydney Sweeney again. I was watching the Josta show not too long ago. Now, I'm sure that the Josta show sounds very foreign to you, but don't fret, I'll tell you what it is. Kudos to you if you actually know what that show is, though. The Josta show is a podcast hosted by Jamie Josta. Who is Jamie Josta? He's the frontman of a band called Hatebreed. Hatebreed, by the way, is a metalcore band. It's one of the many bands I listen to. Jamie is in other bands too, but his main one is Hatebreed. Anyway, the episode of the Josta show that I was watching was with Miles Kennedy. You're probably wondering who he is too. He's a musician as well. If you frequently listen to rock and metal, then you must know who he is. He's the frontman of Alter Bridge. He has other projects too outside of Alter Bridge, including a solo project, by the way. Alright, now that you know who those two guys are, let me get back to my story here. So as Jamie and Miles are having a conversation, Miles suddenly brings up Sydney Sweeney. You might be wondering why. Does he have a relationship with Sydney Sweeney or something? The answer to that is no, but the reason why he brought up Sydney Sweeney is because Miles lives in Spokane, Washington. What does that have to do with Sydney Sweeney? Well, she is from Spokane, so that's the connection there. Miles brought her up when Jamie was saying something about Spokane being due for success in the music industry, giving credit to Miles' own success, but he also asked what other artists from Spokane has found success. What's funny is that Miles somehow finds a way to insert Sydney Sweeney in there, even though she's not a musician. When I heard that, I told my sister about it, and she responded by saying that it's a reminder for me to draw Sydney Sweeney again, so here I am drawing her again. Another reason why I'm drawing her is because I don't think I've done a good job drawing her, so this is another attempt of mine at drawing her. I'm going to be painting her later too, so this is not just all drawing. But yeah, I don't think I've done a good job drawing her. In my first Sydney Sweeney video, which is my second uploaded video on this channel, I mentioned that I've drawn her multiple times. But I've never been pleased with any of my work involving her though. I'm going to keep trying until I find some success doing so. I'm definitely open to any kind of feedback on my work, not just on this one, but on pretty much anything I'm putting out. What I think looks good might be total trash to others. I really like the person who left a comment on my very first video on this channel saying that my work lacked contrast. I know that might be considered by some as a negative comment, but I actually appreciate that. That's the kind of comment that lets me know what I need to improve on. If you think I'm doing a terrible job at anything I'm doing here, please let me know about it in the comments. Going back to the Josta show, I still find it funny that Sydney Sweeney somehow gets mentioned on it. I don't think she listens to metal, hard rock, or even punk. I don't even think she gets mentioned in the rock and metal community by anyone. It's so surprising to hear her name on the Josta show, but that goes to show how successful she's become. I'll tell you who else got mentioned on it in a different episode. Chris Jericho. That's right, the guy I drew and painted in my last video. By the way, that artwork I made of him is something that Chris Jericho himself saw. I posted the artwork on Instagram and I tagged Jericho in it. I tagged him before in a different post, but I don't know if he saw it. He may have seen it, but he probably didn't care about it. I can confirm that he saw my latest artwork of him because he posted it as a story, by the way. I saw it being shared, and I was wondering who it was that shared it because it's only been shared once. Little did I know that it was actually Chris Jericho himself. That's so cool. He even used the song Born to Raise Hell by Motorhead for it. So awesome. Chris Jericho getting mentioned on the Josta show isn't as unusual as Sydney Sweeney getting mentioned on it, however. In case you didn't know, Jericho is a musician himself, and he is in the heavy metal and hard rock community. Speaking of music, I'm curious to know what you guys think of my own music for this video. Not only am I trying to improve my art, I'm also trying to improve my music composition. I want to get better at those two things, so it would be really helpful to get some feedback on how I do them. Let's pause it right here. As you can see, her head looks done. Her hair was so tough to draw though. I'm going to draw her body next, but I'm not going to be doing any talking while doing so I'm going to pick up the pace and I'll get back to you all when there's something I need to explain. Okay, I'm back. I've done a lot of drawing here and I'm just about ready to start painting her. The problem is that her hand looks very tiny, her arms look so thin, and her hips look too small. I'm gonna have to do some erasing and I'm gonna be redrawing every affected part. I'm also gonna look at my overall drawing and I'm gonna make sure that I make the proper adjustments everywhere I see fit. It's important to make sure that my drawing is actually done before I start coloring. So I'm done with the drawing. It's ready for coloring, but before I do that, let me explain what she's wearing here. You see the number 11 on her shirt? That's Jackson Smith and Jigba's number. If you don't know who he is, he's a wide receiver on the Seattle Seahawks. It's a professional football team in the NFL. Now, I'm not a Seahawks fan, I'm a Steelers fan, but Sydney Sweeney is a Seahawks fan, so I thought it was appropriate to draw her in a Seahawks jersey. Now, I have to admit that I don't know a whole lot about Sydney Sweeney, which is a shame because I've drawn her multiple times. The reason why I know that she's a Seahawks fan is because I looked it up. I looked it up because my sister asked me if she's a Seahawks fan, and it turns out she is. Jackson Smith and Jigba happens to be her favorite player on the Seahawks, so that explains this drawing. Anyway, let me start painting this. I'm gonna do the flat colors first. I'm done with the flat colors. My work is far from done, so please excuse how she looks right now. It's going to be a real challenge for me to do the shading. The thing with painting is that you have to be able to know which colors you need to work with in order for you to come up with the right blends. I've done the base colors, and now I need to paint multiple colors on top of them in order for me to add depth. I'll start with the eyebrows because she has none at the moment. Alright, I've done a lot of shading, but I'm not quite done yet. I want to make her say something. Again, I'm not a Seahawks fan, but I'll make her say, "Let's go Seahawks." Here we go, Steelers, here we go. I wish she was a Steelers fan, but anyway. I'm going to paint the background using neon green as my base. There's my neon green base. I'm going to paint over this color, and I'm going to darken it because it looks too bright. This is as dark as I want to go with regard to the background. I have to color the speech box because I'm not big in this transparent look. I don't normally do this, but I'll give the speech box a 3D look by doing some shading on it, and then I'll sign this piece. I've signed this piece, but I've got just a little more to do. I want to darken some of her teeth, and I want to make her glow. Alright, this is it. Sydney Sweeney piece, done. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Follow me if you're watching on Rumble. I don't post videos that often, but I'm always drawing stuff, and I'm always creating something behind the scenes. Anything I come up with has a chance to be featured on whichever platform you're currently using. Now that I've wrapped this up, I'm curious to know what you all think. Like what you see, hate what you see, tell me all that in the comments, and I'll catch you all on the flip side. Here we go, Steelers, here we go. Here we go, Steelers, here we go.